Zanti, there were some big upsets in the world of football over the last week or so, especially out in England, and a big one from a South African point of view in the Champions League. We look at Germany as well, where things will see Bayern Munich continuing to dominate. We get into all of that and more on Game On. I am Sizwe Mabena, proud to be in your company here alongside Mark Haskins as we get the show underway. And in speaking of upsets, there were some pretty big ones over the weekend out in England. And we'll start off with the defending champions, Liverpool. They seem to be having some serious struggles, and well, they lost out to Brentford in a 5-goal thriller.
Yeah, certainly how Liverpool's fortunes have changed is actually quite dramatic, because started the season with a perfect record in the first 5 games and have gone on to lose 4 in a row. That is unthinkable, to be honest with you. They were flying high at the top of the log not too long ago. Now they find themselves in 7th position.
Have the wheels come off.
Man City and Man United above them.
Yeah, have the wheels come off, I have to ask.
That's the thing, you know, you ask yourself what actually went wrong, but the signs were there early on in the season where they weren't winning games convincingly. They had to come from behind, last-minute winners, you know, winning it at the death. And so now it's like, okay, you know, you can't continue like that for the better part of the season, because it's literally caught up with them. And yeah, to find themselves where they are right now, given how they started the season, it seems unthinkable right now.
And of course, with that result means all eyes are on Arsenal. And for them, set pieces have been the order of the day for the last couple of years now. They continue to dominate in that regard. And through a set piece, had the win over Crystal Palace. Eze scoring against his former side.
Yeah, again, I mean, you can't write these scripts even if you tried. So the old adage that says strikers win you games, defenses win you championships. Right now, that rings true, because if you look at it, Arsenal have only conceded 3 goals this season, and so they've scored 16. But the fact that they haven't conceded is why they are where they are on the log. And so it's going to take a lot to beat this team. And you know, you hope that this is finally their season. They've come so close. They were pretenders in so many seasons in recent memory. Is this their season? It looks like it very well might be.
Season started as though Manchester City were going to make this their season in the beginning, in the opening game and so on, but they are amongst the victims and amongst the upsets over the weekend. Aston Villa getting the better of them with the 1-0 scoreline. Yeah,
again, you look at Aston Villa and the way they started the season, it's in stark contrast to what they've done now. I think they've won 4 in a row as well, to really get themselves and push themselves up the table. But yes, Man City have had a very topsy-turvy season. Erling Haaland, if he's not scoring, you wonder, okay, where they're going to get goals from, because he came up dry on the weekend and last weekend, and so that's directly resulted in them losing to Aston Villa. So, you know, they depend maybe too much on Erling Haaland in terms of scoring goals. They need to be getting goals from other areas, other avenues. That's what has been so prevalent in all Pep's teams. When in the past, when you've seen the Agueros, the Sterlings, you know, they could get goals from just about anywhere. And now it seems like, you know, it's focused on Haaland getting goals. If he's not scoring, no one else is really chipping in. And so that's something I think that'll worry Pep Guardiola.
On the other side of Manchester, goes on to problem. Defense is a bit of a problem, but United on a bit of a green patch, the greenest patch in some time. They get the better of Brighton with a 4-2 scoreline. Yeah,
Man United fans are smiling at the moment. You know, they haven't had a lot to be joyful about, but certainly 3 in a row is going along. A lot of people are saying, is it an upset that they beat Brighton?
Yeah,
you know,
I believe it might be. I believe it is.
But yes, Man United have had so much troubles in recent times, but they seem to be getting it right now. You look at Mbeumo, Cunha chipping in. You know, the signings they've made are all playing a part, and they're showing their worth, and they're showing why they were called on and so highly rated. And so slowly but surely, it seems like Amorim is finding his stride with this team, and if they continue in this vein, you know, we might see a resurgence of Man United.
Chelsea continue to hit and miss. They missed over the weekend at home to Sunderland. The shock result possibly of the weekend, the 2-1 loss to Sunderland.
Again, I mean, the way Sunderland have come into this season, you know, of the pretenders, like the teams that have come in, they find themselves in a lofty position where I don't think anyone would have expected them. But yes, Chelsea, unfortunately, consistency not quite there. This is the world champions, obviously, from the Club World Cup, but just not able to find the consistency they need to really push themselves and be amongst the front runners.
Good news for South Africa. Now Foster had an all-round great game, including scoring a winner in a 5-goal thriller in the 3-2 win for Burnley away at Wolves this time.
again, if you want to also include Southern Africa, Marshall Munetsi also getting the equalizer in that game when I think Burnley were 2-0 up and then, contrived to get conceded 2 goals, and at 2-2 it seemed like, okay, maybe Wolves are going to steal it. But then, yes, cometh the hour, cometh the man, Lyle Foster. I think he's playing with so much more maturity now. Love watching him play and just how he toys with the offside line.
Yeah.
He's done it so many times this season, and this time scoring beautifully. The composure he shows to finish it off, absolutely stellar.
Arsenal, Bournemouth, Tottenham, Sunderland the 4th, City 5th, equal in points with Man United at 6th, whilst Liverpool is 7th. Who would have thought?
I mean, again, I think we all need to take pictures of the lot as it stands right now, because I can guarantee you it's going to change. It's going to change quite drastically over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months. We'll see who can sustain it. Bournemouth have started, I mean, we saw in that opening game against Liverpool when they were 2-0 down, came back to 2-2. They showed signs that, they need to be taken seriously. Ended up losing that game, but still, they've shown that they are going to be a tough team to beat this season. And Sunderland, I don't think anyone would have expected.
Yeah, let's move over to Germany. And, Bayern Munich have proven that Harry Kane doesn't have to be scoring for them to keep scoring. And they walk away with the impressive 3-0 away win at Borussia Mönchengladbach.
I mean, Mönchengladbach will be kicking themselves. They went down a man very early on in that game, and they defended resolutely, only conceded after the 60-minute mark. But yes, Bayern Munich without Harry Kane on the score sheet, still winning 3-0. It shows the quality that they possess.
Quickly now, Leipzig with a 6-0 win over Augsburg, and Dortmund with the 1-0 win over Cologne.
The crazy thing with the Leipzig game, 6-0 win, 6 different scorers.
Yeah.
And that's, again, every coach wants that, where you're getting goals from everywhere. So great stuff from them. Dortmund able to make sure it was a tough 1-0 win, but again, that's what it takes, to make sure you stay amongst the front runners. And even the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, it's very interesting, because right now, can anyone compete with Bayern Munich? I don't think so.
Well, goals do make the world go round, and certainly keeping things interesting out in England as well as Germany. We continue to talk the beautiful game, but this time focus on the beautifully African game. Haskins days, Jeris Kusana joins us, and we break down the Champions League and Confederations Cup.
Be in the game.